This is Live for Love TV. Live for Love TV. Yes, I am.
One step more. One step more. One step more. Until you reach your goals. One step more. Save them soul. One step more. One step more. How good it is to reach the
Live for Love TV. This is Live for Love TV. Live for Love TV.
Welcome back with Live for Love TV. Today is the 2nd of July, the 21st year of the 21st century. I'm sitting here with a wonderful brethren by the name of Alwin. He's going to introduce himself. Alwin, sorry. Thank you. See, I made an immediate mistake here on Live for Love TV. But I'm going to let him introduce himself to a certain extent. And like me, he's a first generation UK born. So he's a Windrush child, I'd say. So Alwin, welcome. You're welcome to Live Love TV. So first of all, what year were you born, sir?
1957.
Yeah.
November 1957.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
So your parents are from where?
Jamaica.
Well, they came from Jamaica.
Yes.
So that means in those times we're not talking about planes. We're talking about boats, right?
Well, actually, my mum came here on a plane.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay.
She always used to be quite proud of the fact that
She was one of the
she
few
didn't come
people
on a
that
boat,
came.
she came on a plane.
That's
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that means she had a little bit of money behind her. Yeah. I know that's what it means. Yeah. Okay. So you're born in 1957, first generation, like I'm saying,
Yeah.
and you're born where? You're born in London, but where?
I was born in Hackney Hospital.
In Hackney Hospital.
Yeah.
Okay. Which is not too far from where we're sitting right now.
A mile up the road.
About a mile up the street, yeah. Okay, so, all right, so we're there. We're there, 1957. You've come into the world. Your parents both working, I take it?
Yeah, they were both working, yeah. Yes, they was both working.
Yeah, okay, both working. So, how many of you in your family? How many siblings did you have?
Well, on my mother's side, there's 5 of us.
Okay.
4 boys, 1 girl. The girl was the youngest.
Okay.
And then on my father's side, there was 6. 3
Okay.
girls, 3 boys.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. So where did you school? You schooled in Hackney, I take it?
I went to school in Hackney, yeah.
Yeah, and was the school you went to, was it an all-boys school or was it a...
All-boys school, Brookhouse School.
There seems to be a lot of all-boys schools in Hackney. That to me is unusual because in northwest London where I came from, there was only one all-boys school that I knew.
Yeah.
Is what I went to.
Yeah.
But you in Hackney, when you come here, people keep saying you went to this all-boys school here, Brook House and this house and that house and Upton House and all this.
Yeah.
But okay, so you went to an all-boys school.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, so you came out with a good education, or you came out with an average education?
I came out with an average education, even though I always considered myself to be fairly intelligent. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Well, like most of us.
Yeah.
And most of us, we didn't have good teaching, so we didn't really get what we should have got.
That's right.
But I'm going to move on because I know right now you're a teacher.
Yeah.
So I want to know, how did you come with an average education to being a teacher?
Okay, well, when I left school at 16. And I took my exams, and I didn't even go back to the school to find out, to get my results.
Wow.
I didn't even go back.
Yeah, because you thought they were bad?
Not that. It just never seemed important.
Okay.
And from the day I walked out, the last day I walked out of that school, I've never gone back.
Okay.
Eventually I did get my results. I can't remember how I got them. But they were pretty average.
Right, okay.
Pretty average. After that, I pretty much went straight to work.
Okay, so you started working. What were you doing?
I
What kind of
worked in a factory, and but also I was playing football.
Okay.
So after about a couple of weeks of leaving school, I was in Southend. I was actually living in Southend and playing football with Southend United full time.
Okay.
I was there full time, and that lasted about a couple of months. It ended up being a complete disaster.
Right. I hear you.
Because of racism.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay,
racism.
Okay.
I went down there at 16, and I was up against racism, not from the other players, from the coaches.
Okay.
And to be quite honest, even though I grew up in Hackney and we used to kind of get picked on by the police and stuff like that, it was my first real experience, conscious experience of racism. Because I grew up in Hackney and I grew up amongst other kids like me. I went to school that had mostly kids like me. And so when I went to Southend and I was the only one down there, yeah, that was my first experience.
Experience of racism.
Yeah.
And this is important for people to hear, because we know people born first generation from our parents. We know racism. Some more than others, obviously.
Yeah.
Some people were into trouble, but I mean that's serious that you experienced racism.
Yes, yeah.
And it ended in a disaster. I take it.
Ended in a disaster.
Yeah.
And I want to note that when I say like I grew up in Hackney with other kids like me, there was also lots of white kids who were Irish. Yeah. And I still never
experienced racism.
That.
But you wouldn't experience it from Irish, because they were under a lot of pressure too. Yeah. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
So,
and in the end, I packed my bags. It's a day I'll never forget. There was a game on the Friday, a first team game on the Friday. I went into the manager's office. My suitcase was outside. I said, I'm going home. I've had enough. And he said to me, this is not the time to talk about this. Just before a game, I said, I haven't come to talk to you about it. I'm going home. Right. So I went back. I came back to London, and about a week later, a coach from Bristol came to my house, and he knew me from before because he took me from Watford to Southend, and then he left. Okay. So when he was there, I was okay, but he left. He came to Hackney. He heard about what happened, and I wasn't at home. So he sat with my mum, and he apologised to my mum for what happened. To this day, my mum doesn't really know what happened. And he said he came to take me to Bristol.
Bristol to do what? Play football?
Play football.
Okay.
He said he wanted me to come down there, play a game against Aston Villa, and then we sort out all the paperwork.
Bristol first team?
Bristol City youth.
Oh, the youth team.
The youth team. So that was like the apprentice professionals.
Okay, right.
Between 16 and 18. And I never came home. I think I came home about 2 o'clock that morning, and she told me he was there, and she said he apologised, but what was he apologising for? And I just said, it doesn't matter. Which really was apologising for taking you all the way down to Southend and leaving you. Really, that's what he really did. And you're bad. And he heard what happened to you. Yeah. Okay. And he left a ticket there, train ticket. And like I said, I stayed. I didn't go. So when I say it was a disaster, that's what I mean. Okay. Because that's what I thought I was going to do. Yeah. You thought you was going to be a footballer. Yeah. And you had your heart set on it. Yeah. Because I represented my district. I represented my county. I represented London. Yeah. I was nominated for England schoolboys. Oh, wonderful! So it's quite And I did a recent video on racism in football, and I mean you're bringing that straight. That was done just yesterday and put online. Yeah. And it was talking about the current racism in football. Yeah. But it's good to hear that for people who don't know that this has been going on a long time. Yeah. At different levels, and what they're telling us now in football, they're talking about the monkey chants. Yeah. They're not talking about the actual staff and the people behind who are the real racists in football and the reason why we don't get to where we're supposed to get to. Right, yeah. But it's very interesting that you would bring all that up. Yeah. So once you came out and you didn't go back into football at that stage, I take it you went back into work. I came back and then I used to go to a youth club in Stamford Hill. And I had this idea that we could set up our own business. Okay. And somebody, told me about a cooperative way of working. So I said, yeah, let's try that. So a few of us got together to set up a co-op where we would do building construction. Right. But we never had the skills. And I actually went to County Hall. And asked them for money to set it up. And I went there, and at first they was refusing, but I argued and I argued and I argued. In the chambers in County Hall. I'm about 19 years old, 20 years old, and we got the money. Wow. we got the money. We got the money, and we to buy a van and to hire someone to train us. And then the Lubavitch, I don't know if you know the Lubavitch organisation in Stamford Hill. It's a Jewish organisation.
No, I've never heard of it.
Lubavitch Foundation.
Never heard of them, no.
Yeah, big Jewish organisation in Stamford Hill. They had a building which was a school, which they wanted to renovate.
Okay.
And they said we could use that as the building to train. So it's quite a big thing. And so that we did that, and that went on for about a year or so, and it kind of fell apart, you know. And
you're young guys, right? So
we were very young, yeah.
So that probably would happen.
Yes.
You know, with young guys and stuff like that, and everything that's going on.
Yeah, but I learned plastering
Okay.
while I was there, and so I took that forward, and then I was working with 2 other guys, and we were plastering, and we were doing okay. We worked our way up, and we were doing quite sort of prestigious work.
Yeah, okay.
We was working in the West End, Kensington.
Some big money houses.
Yeah, and even Ronnie Scott's. I was part of the team that worked on Ronnie Scott's.
The jazz club, for people who don't remember. Yeah. That's a jazz club, yeah.
Yeah, so we did that, and then it's funny because we went on from there, and instead of doing plastering, ended up specialising in working with stone, liquid stone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I kind of felt like I wasn't making enough progress with that, so I decided I was going back to education. Right. So
you went back to higher to what you're talking about, college now? Yeah.
You
went into a college.
Yeah, and I thought to myself, what is it that I liked doing when I was at school? And I thought, I used to really like drawing and things like that. So I went and did a short course in Islington. And then from there, I went on to Chelsea School of Art and did a foundation at Chelsea School of Art. And then from there, I went to Wimbledon School of Art. So somehow I find myself in these really prestigious art schools. Yeah. And that was a fantastic experience. Really was, the way the people were. And I ended up living in Wimbledon. And funny enough, I was sharing a house with 4 girls.
Wow.
I was in Wimbledon.
So is that Man About the House? Is that was it made about you? That old comedy series?
It could have been. But what happened was, I'm there on the course. This course I was on, there was 20 places and there was 600 applicants.
Oh, okay.
And I got a place on there. And one day, these girls said to me, "We've rented a house. It'd be nice to have a guy living in the house as well. How do you feel about sharing a house with us?"
Wow.
So I said, "Sure."
Yeah.
And those girls, they're like, today still, they're my sisters.
Okay.
They're like my sisters.
Okay,
yeah.
It was all good.
Yeah. People say, "Wow, you live with 4 girls." Yeah. But it wasn't like that.
It wasn't like that.
We were like a family.
Good.
And I'd never really. It was interesting. They were all quite middle, upper class sort of girls, but somehow we bonded like brother and sisters.
But you're kind of middle class, though, aren't you?
Nah.
No, you know. Okay, you're working class.
Yeah. Of course.
Okay. All right. You're from working class roots, but
listen, my family's from St Anne's, up in the hill.
Working class people, but working class people don't go to Wimbledon Art School and Chelsea Art School, do they?
Listen, Bridget, I grew up with my 3 brothers and my sister in one room. And in that room, there was like a kind of curtain that separated the room. So my mother had somewhere private to sleep.
Yeah, I understand that. Yes.
Right? So the 4 of us, the 3 of us, the 3 boys, we slept in one bed. And my sister slept with my mum. You know? That's how I grew up.
Yeah, humble beginnings. Humble.
Yeah.
But it's not unusual.
Yeah. And I tell you as well, we ended up homeless.
Okay.
Because the room that my mum rented was rented from the Jews.
Okay.
And if you didn't keep up the rent,
they put you out straight away.
We were actually on the pavement with our belongings.
Wow.
And luckily my mum had a friend who took us in for a couple of days. And from there we went into a temporary place in Green Lanes for about a month or so. And then finally they moved us into a flat. It was the first time we'd ever had a flat which had a bedroom and a kitchen. You know, I'm not saying it was a nice flat, but it was a flat still.
I understand. Yeah.
Near London Fields. And then my mum, under all the pressure, you can imagine the pressure she's under. She's a black woman. She's bringing up 5 kids. There isn't no man around, you know. She had a breakdown.
Oh, okay. So,
so when I was like 9 years old, me, my elder brother, and my brother below me, we were put into care.
Care, okay.
And this is how it was in them days as well. The neighbours took the 2 youngest ones.
Okay.
Can you imagine it happening today? The neighbours took the 2 younger ones. So it's something that I never forget. Because
how long were you in care?
It's about 6 weeks.
But you weren't in care any time. I mean, 6 weeks is 6 weeks. Yeah, so how did you come out?
Yeah, but they took us.
I understand.
A woman came.
Yeah, and just took you just like that.
And took us, put us in her car, drove us out to Essex, somewhere, Shenfield, somewhere like that. And then we were put, the place where we were, it was like a group of houses around a green. There was a school there as well. And me and my older brother was in one house, and my youngest brother was in another house. So we could see each other quite easily. And we were there. We were given clothes, new clothes. And one thing I'll always remember as well to this day is on a Saturday we used to get pocket money.
Okay.
Which was like...
Yeah, you never got pocket money when you were growing up normally, yeah.
Okay. So I'm just telling you that because when you say like I'm middle class, it's probably because I've been in teaching for so long.
That's right.
And when you're teaching kids, you teach them to speak the right way and, you know, and put, you know, portray themselves in the right manner. So maybe that's why I come across like that.
So, so when you were in care and you've come out of care and you've grown up and we've passed on, we're going to grow up, do you have any effects from when your mum broke down, had the breakdown? Do you think it left any residual memory to you negatively in any way?
I spent a few years kind of lost.
Okay.
Really.
Trying to find yourself.
I mean, like the disappointment of not playing football and all the other stuff. It's like at some point it had to come up.
It came on top,
and you know, I did things like I drank a bit. I wasn't an alcoholic, but I drank a bit, smoking, experimenting with different types of drugs. Okay. You know,
some hard drugs, yeah.
Yeah.
So you drifted.
Yes.
And how long did that go on for? How long did you say that?
I'd say that went on for about 3 or 4 years.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And what age would you have been then? By then?
28.
You'd have been deep in the 20s.
28. Yeah. And you know, one day I don't know why, but I just said, you know what? I'm going to stop doing this and I'm going to see how much money I've been spending doing this. And so after about 2 months, I said, right, I'm going to take this money, I'm going to do something. And you know what I did? I went to Ethiopia.
Okay.
I went up into the mountains.
You went into a pilgrimage. That's a pilgrimage you're talking about.
Kind of,
yeah. It's a pilgrimage.
Yeah, I went up into the mountains in Ethiopia and I went trekking.
All right.
From village to village, high up on the plateaus there. Right. I had a donkey carrying my luggage.
Okay, nice.
Seriously,
nice.
I had a donkey carrying my luggage and we'd walk from one village. I had someone with me, a guide who knew his way there.
I was going to ask who the we was just then,
I did it through an organisation called Responsible Tourism. So I'd go to the village, they'd give me somewhere to stay, give me food to eat, and I'd give the money to the elder. Right. And then he'd distribute it, however.
How long was the trip to Ethiopia?
A few weeks.
A few weeks, yeah?
Yeah, it wasn't that long.
And I know something major happened to you because by the time you came back,
different person.
You were a different person. So tell me what you can remember in Ethiopia when the penny dropped somewhere that you knew you had to take charge of your life again. What happened to you? What did you feel?
I was in Lalibela. And I had a guide showing me around the rock churches.
Right, yeah.
And he said to me, I'm a priest. A young guy, maybe about 25. He said, I'm a priest. And he said, I've just had a baby. I want you to come and celebrate at my home with me. Okay. So I said, okay. Went to his home. And he said, my grandfather is also a priest. He's 90-something years old. Come and meet him. Right. So I went and I met him and, you know, he was translating for me. And his grandfather said to me, you're Ethiopian? And I said, no. And he said, your parents, they're Ethiopian.
But you do look, looking at you now, you do look Ethiopian, you know, even now.
Okay. Yeah. And I said no. And he said to me, somewhere in your ancestry, you're Ethiopian, because when I look in your face, I see an Ethiopian.
Right, right.
He said to me, if you ever come here again, make sure you speak the language. And from that, that was like...
You found yourself an identity, kind of.
Yeah, it was like, it's like the light switched on. The light switched on.
That you're from somewhere, you belong somewhere, you have a lineage.
Yeah.
Someone has recognized something in you. That's very important.
Yeah, yeah. And then one day, after a couple of days after that, I was walking through a field, and I saw a little child running towards me in the distance, and that child was coming and coming and coming and coming, and she came up to me and told me to put my hand like that, and when she opened her hand, warm barley fell into my hands, and then she pointed in the distance, and I could see her family waving to me. So when those two things happened, I said, yeah, this is where I'm supposed to be. This is what I'm supposed to have done. This is who I am. And I came back, and from when I come back, I haven't touched any alcohol. I haven't smoked. You know, it's all been about mindfulness and being healthy and being fit and you know, and trying to grow all the time.
That's why I said it's a pilgrimage. I said it's a pilgrimage because that's what happens on a pilgrimage. And you can, I mean, because I know you, the people watching this at the moment don't know you and know how fit you are for a man born in 1957. You embarrass me, and I try to keep fit, and you embarrass me, even when you tell me some of the things you do. So you came back, started to look after mind, body and soul, got yourself more educated, got yourself back to some place. Take us to where you actually decided you want to teach young people. You want to be a teacher now. What age would that have happened?
It happened around, I'd say about 40.
Okay, so that's a while between the two times.
Yeah, I was about 40, I think.
So let's not jump too quickly. So what happened between 28 and 40 before you became a teacher? Were you working? Were you drifting around?
No, not at all. I was working, and after I started to specialise. I started working with plaster and stone. Because remember, I did a sculpture course for 3 years. So I started working with plaster, stone, liquid stone, and then started to do really sort of high-end work. I mean, I worked for people like, I don't know if you know the Rothschilds family. People
I don't think anybody doesn't know the Rothschilds family.
Well, himself, Rothschild himself, used to ask for me to come and do work. So I've been on their estate and done work for him on his estate in Aylesbury.
Wonderful. Yes.
And some people even...
So you earn quite a bit of money, I take it, doing this?
Not really.
It wasn't a great paying job. It was a decent paying, normal paying job.
Yeah.
It wasn't because when you mention the Rothschilds, you're assuming that this guy is going to be paying you some serious side money to get this done by...
Somebody made some money, some serious money, but it wasn't me.
Right, I hear you. So whoever you were working under or for... that's contract work or whatever it was, I don't know.
And so I did that. I used to make things like fluted columns, huge Roman columns with scrolls, and I can still make those things.
Yeah, and you never took pictures of things like that?
I've got pictures of them.
You got pictures of them? Okay, interesting. Okay.
And then... And I ended up in places like, I was in Ireland, I was working in Ireland, I was working in a place called Tipperary, I don't know if you know about horse racing, but I work for Coolmore Stud. That's the biggest horse breeding
in Ireland?
In the world.
In the world, okay.
In the world,
okay.
Yeah, I was working there, they flew me over there.
When they say it's a long way to Tipperary, is that the same Tipperary?
That's the same Tipperary.
Okay.
They flew me over there.
Okay.
And I turned up there, and they sent a taxi to the hotel every day, take me there, and I was working. And it's funny because I was there because they have like a kind of mansion on there, and I went for a walk. I used to go for a walk. I never saw a horse.
Right.
And one day I bumped into a guy and I said, "This is Coolmore Stud." He said, "Yeah." And I said, "This is where they breed racehorses." He said, "Yeah." I said, "But I haven't seen a horse." He said, "Come with me." So we walked. He took me to the stables and he said, "There you go." And a horse was in front of me, and I touched the horse, and the horse was like a bronze sculpture. Like the muscles.
Yes, I can imagine. Yeah,
beautiful. And I said, "Yeah, but is it a champion?" And he said to me, only champions come here.
Oh, wow.
He said, that horse you're touching is worth 60 million pounds.
Ooh.
So yeah, I did. I kind of got around. I worked in Holland. I spent 6 months in Barbados.
Okay.
Making some molds for columns for a friend of mine. His name is Trevor Carter, who he's the one that formed a funeral company. If you know, there's a black funeral company in Stoke-Newington.
Yeah, I know that.
Well,
yes, I know that.
The guy who formed that, who built that, he's a friend of mine.
Okay.
He's a much older guy than me. This is why I think sometimes I'm so blessed. I was working, doing building work, and he had his place next door. And one day I was sitting in the garden just taking a break, and he came and sat beside me, never spoke to me before in my life. And he said to me, I've been watching you and you're always working. And I said, well, yeah, I have to. He said, I'm the same, I work 18 hours a day. And I said, boy, you have to take a holiday sometimes. He said, I do every year. He said, every year I go back to Barbados and I've got business interests there. So you know when someone says that to you, you say, boy, I wish that was me. And he said to me, why don't you come? Why don't you come? I've never been to the Caribbean before. He said, why don't you come? He said, you know, it's important that we as West Indians take our children who are born here to the Caribbean so they see where we come from. Yeah?
I had that experience very young from my parents.
Right, okay. And he said to me, listen, give me £200 towards a ticket, I'll take care of everything else. And I said, well, I don't even know this guy. And I went and I spoke to my brother, and my brother said, just do it. So the week before he went, before we were going, I gave him the money. I didn't have a passport at that time. I went and got a passport. Next thing I know, I was standing outside a house in St. James, Barbados. And I looked up and I said, what am I doing here? Well, after a few days, I settled down and, you know, he was there on business. So he would go to St. Lucia on business. He took me with him. We flew to St. Lucia. We flew to Dominica. We flew to Martinique. You know, we were flying around so much that I said to him, you know what, I need to just stop flying for a bit.
So you can just rest and enjoy your holiday.
Yeah. So he had a friend who was managing an estate where all those rich people had their holiday homes. And one was empty. One of the villas was empty. He said, you can have this until I come back. I'll be back in a week. So, so that was another experience. And then it was after all that that I felt like I really want to do something that's going to give me some kind of stability. And I always felt like I was a teacher. Even when I was at Wimbledon, you know, I used to sort of educate the people. Even though those people went to private school and boarding school, I was always educating them because although they knew about their maths and their science and their philosophy and, you know, and those things, they never really knew about life. And even at a young age there, I did.
Well, you've got a lot of experience from what I can hear.
Yeah.
You've been experienced and you've been through things.
Yeah. So I decided that. And when they heard that I was going to teaching, you know, they said that we're not surprised.
That's what they expected you to do.
Yeah.
So what type of teaching did you go into?
I teach design and technology.
Design and technology?
In technology, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, give me a quick background on that if you can.
I teach electronics.
Okay.
So I teach kids to build small amplifiers and sort of electronic systems with sensors and stuff. I teach them drawing, technical drawing. I teach them construction as well. So to do that, I had to go back
to learn all of that.
To uni again. To get
Oh.
my qualifications. I did a PGC at Middlesex University. And then I started working as a supply teacher.
Okay.
And eventually I got a permanent job. The school where I am now, London Academy, I've been there, it's my 10th year.
Where's London Academy?
Edgware.
Oh, in Edgware.
Just below Stanmore.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
okay, in Edgware, okay.
And that's where I am now. I've been there 10 years.
So ever since your first teaching job, which you were a supply teacher, you went on to be a permanent teacher, and you're still in that school now.
Yeah, yeah. So
and that school's a mixed school, it's a boy and girl school.
It's a mixed school.
It's an academy, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's amazing. It's an amazing journey to get to that teaching thing. And the thing I want to ask you as well, before we go any further, is why are you so fit? Why are you so in? I mean, yes, you're a footballer. Yes, you've got a heart of a fit person. You're somebody you've probably been keeping fit, if not all the time, on and off.
You know what it is? When we were growing up as kids, there was two things that used to, one, drive us, and the other thing, give us our identity. One of the things that used to drive us was the freedom movement in America.
Okay.
Because remember, I was about 13 with the civil rights. I was about 13 during the civil rights movement.
Right.
Okay. We used to wear Angela Davis badges, free Angela Davis badges, and Malcolm X. I was a kid when that was going on, and I knew what was going on.
Black Power movement.
And then the other thing was Rasta.
Which was basically the same 70s coming in, same time.
Late 60s, 70s, that's when Rasta started. That was like the second phase of Rasta, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, the first phase being in the 30s, and then the second phase, it rose.
The 60s, late 60s coming.
Yeah. And that's what I followed as a kid. You know, Lloydie's got some posters on his wall that I had on my bedroom wall when I was like 13, 14 years old.
Okay.
You know, Daniel Hartman, the artist Daniel Hartman. So that's where I get this thing where I want to eat healthy, I want to drink healthy, I want to be a conscious person. And also at 17 years old, I was going to the Ethiopian Orthodox Church in Westbourne Park. So that's my grounding. That never, it's like that. Even when I was going through my, you know,
wilderness period,
that was still in me. That's why I went to Ethiopia.
I hear you.
Yeah? And so that's where it comes from. Not from...
So did you continue, were you fit? When you came back from Ethiopia at 28, you said you looked after your body and your health and everything like that. But were you fit? Were you doing what you do? I mean, you ride bikes, you do half marathons.
I've always done it.
You've always done that?
I've always done it. Always.
And you're a school teacher?
Yes.
You know, I'm going to let you into something here. I didn't respect any school teacher. Let me be clear, when I was growing up in my secondary school. But the closest I did get to respecting a teacher was a particular teacher in my school who used to ride a bike like you do. He was a PE teacher. And why I had a little bit of respect for him was, one, he rode a bike and he was a PE teacher. All the other PE teachers smoked. I mean, drunk. They just looked so unhealthy. I couldn't believe that they were allowed to let anywhere near children. But he rode every day to school. And another thing about him, he didn't have favourites. You know, if you were fit or tall, I mean, he'd be banned now. Because if you were like 18 stone, he'd make you run around just like everybody else. You know, and the way I see school now, they'd be like, that's torture. Because I used to see some kids going around and he didn't care. You're fat, you're going to run. You know, and I had respect for him for that. But you're a teacher, but you don't teach fitness to your, I mean,
I do.
Oh, you teach fitness to your children as well?
I don't teach PE.
You don't teach PE? Okay.
No.
Okay.
I teach it a different way.
Okay.
It's like,
so how do you get them to be to have respect for their bodies? And,
right. Listen, you know, the kids say to me, they say, "Sir, how old are you?" They say, "Sir, you look fit and you look strong. How old are you?" I say, "I'm 79." Right. They say, "You can't be 79, sir." I say, "What do you mean I can't be 79? What do you say? I'm a liar?" They say, "But sir, you look so fit." I said, "Well, if you want to look like this when you're 79 years old, this is what you have to do." Right? And I've been telling them that for like about 8 years. It went all around the school.
That you're 79.
Yeah, even teachers were saying to me, well, "Why are the children asking me if you're 79 years old?" Right. So, although I don't teach PE at school, what I do tell them, you know, like, you mustn't drink alcohol. Don't drink alcohol. Don't even get into it. Don't smoke. Eat properly. Sleep properly. Go to bed PM. Don't go to bed AM. Right?
Basically, like I do, go to bed the same day you woke up.
Yes.
The same day you woke up. So if you woke up in the AM, you go to bed at that same PM, not the next AM. I like that,
And I say to them, I would not tell you to do something. I would not tell you not to do something that I am doing. And I said to him, you will never see me drinking alcohol. You will never see me smoking. You know, I always keep myself tidy up. I always keep myself clean. I always try and be as healthy as I can. So that's how I teach them about health.
Yeah, you teach it from a personal perspective, an anecdotal perspective of how you are.
Yeah.
And how old are the children that you're teaching, by the way?
I teach from year 7 right through to year 12. So I teach from like 11 right up to 18.
To 18. Okay. Right.
Yeah. And you know, and I tell them, I say to them, I am a role model. I'm not one of those people that go around and say, oh, I'm not no role model. I am a role model because they look at me and they inspire me as well. Because if a child says to you, you look fit, you look healthy, you look young, then that should encourage you to keep doing what you're doing.
That's right.
Because one thing about children is they tell you what they see. They're not like adults. They tell you what they think you might want to hear.
They say what they see.
They tell you what they see.
Yeah, I could tell you something about it, which is really funny, but I'm not going to say it on there because the person might actually be watching and they're not going to be happy. Because I know a child who judges people's age by how they walk.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, like, they'll look at me and they may say, "You look this age." And I said, "Why do you think I look that age?" I said, "Well, it's the way you walk. You walk like my granddad, or you walk like my dad." And they, as you said, they judge you how they see. It's amazing. Okay, so that's good. So you're teaching your studies that you teach, plus you're inspiring children to do what they do. And you know what's important is that because you're from my background, you know, Bain community, whatever they call us, now I take it you've got all type of children in your school. But when I was growing up, we didn't have any black teachers. I don't know if you had any.
We had one.
Okay.
And it's funny that you bring that up. We had one. His name was Trevor Carter, and he was a civil rights activist as well.
Okay.
Yeah, and he used to talk to us. You know what he used to say to us? He used to say to us, "When I talk to you, you don't listen. You don't want to listen to me. But when a white man tells you something, you listen to them." He used to always say that to us.
Wow.
And we ignored him. We're not ignored him, but we didn't take on board what he was trying to show us. The time when we did take it on board was years later, after we all left school and we'd all be talking about Mr. Carter, you know. And you know something, he knew
what he was talking about.
He knew what he's talking about, and we didn't listen. But
you did listen.
But we listened then.
You did listen. You just didn't take it in at that time.
Yeah, but 10, 15, 20 years later, we took on board what he told us.
But that's still listening.
Yeah.
That's still listening. That's why I think it's important for parents to put the right thing in their children. They might not listen right now, or they might not action it right now, but they'll remember it somewhere. So even if that happens, like me, where you go a little bit off kilter, somewhere in your life you're going to remember the things your parents taught you, the cultural, the sensible people taught you, and you're going to put it into action. Because I said I came out of school without anything, but I put it straight into action as soon as I realised what I'd done to myself, not what the teachers had done to me. But what I was doing to myself. So it's refreshing to hear that. So let me quickly ask you this, because you did a half marathon last Saturday. Yeah. And how long did it take you to finish the half marathon? What was your time? Do you know?
2 hours, 20 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I
do a half marathon once a month. So
for how long have you been doing a half marathon once a month?
Since January.
Right. Yeah, and you know
that was my aim to
you know there's people watching this are going to think you're crazy, yeah?
Really?
Absolutely, of course. Even this is what Live for Love is about, uplifting your mind, body and soul. You know, you're in your 60s. Yeah? And you're doing a half marathon, and you know there's people that can't run 100 meters.
Yeah, but they should be able to.
They should be able to. I know there's no physical rhyme or reason. But they'll give you a reason why they don't have the time. They can't, their knees are hurting them, their backs. They'll give you a reason why they don't. But the fact that you run a half marathon, and I know, and I've seen your Rolls Royce outside, and I'm talking about a particular bike that you ride, a bicycle that you ride. To me, it's a roller. If you see it, it's on a different level. I know you ride that to work every day. And I mean, that's about 18 miles, mostly uphill. From here, I mean, I just find it amazing. Then you go and do a half marathon, then you go and do your other exercises and training. I mean, you're an inspiration to me. And I've seen some of the stuff that you do, heard some of the things you do, but it's just amazing to me, because I've got a brother actually the same age as you, and I've got so many friends and people, and to get them to just do something. And you know, it's really hard. So what you're saying to the younger people and showing them an inspiration, to me, it's massive.
Yeah.
Because you have to remember, I don't know about your parents, but you have to remember, I've never seen my parents break a sweat. I've never seen my parents walk fast.
Yeah.
I've never seen them put on a pair of sneakers or anything and go for a walk. So we've having to do this all new in my generation. But because we're doing it, some of us, this next generation really don't have the excuses we have.
Yeah. Yeah.
So your inspiration to me is massive, not just to me, but to those young children that you're dealing with. And I hope that they watch this video and hear because I'm seeing there's things about you they won't know. They'll see you and they see the fitness and health, but they won't know that there's a time when Sir wasn't Sir. You know, and Sir needs a pilgrimage and Sir needs to come back. Because people need to hear these things. When they see you, they think you always were like that. You know, sometimes people see you all built up and popped up and, you know, and looking strong and they think, oh, he's always been like that. And they need to see some of the... But people believe that though. That's how they are. They don't have... And they don't ask questions to know how people get there.
And there are people around right now, similar age to what I was, who are going through things. And, you know... You can come out the other end. Listen, people don't really change, you know. People don't really change. As you become older, as you know more about yourself, you don't change. You become who you are. You become more of who you really are. And a lot of the time, even as us as kids growing up and teenagers and young men, we're not actually being who we are. No, I know. But you know, this channel's about authenticity. Right. That's why you're sitting in that chair. I know you're authentic. You don't have to tell me. I can look at someone. I'm blessed with that ability from I'm a very young person. And this is why I told you about my teachers. There weren't many authentic teachers in my school. They were all fake as far as I could see. And we've grown up to be personas and all these things. So when you've got somebody who's authentic, who's not frightened to show who they are, to be who they are and speak their own truth, to me that's like $1 million. It's like you sitting there and saying what you're saying. To me, it's like someone just giving me $1 million. Because your authenticity is going to go far. And I'll tell you something else. Because I was not afraid to walk into Chelsea School of Art or Wimbledon School of Art, it gave me the confidence to say that I can walk into anywhere and not feel inferior. You know, and I do that with my grandkids. I did it with my son and my daughter as well, actually. I take them to places like, I take them to the Royal Academy of Arts. Wonderful, wonderful, right? And my granddaughter, the oldest one's 7, the next one is 5. And they've been to those places so many times. When they go to those places, it's no big thing to them. That's good, that's good. You know, very good. They can walk around a gallery and they can look at a painting and I can say, what's going on there? And they'll tell me. Yeah? And that's another thing. We have to get out of this thing whereby we don't belong in certain situations. And no one is stopping us. This is another thing. Exactly. No one is saying we can't go into that place. Yeah. Even if it's a Dorchester. Yeah. No one is saying you can't go in. Yeah. But our own inferiority complex stops us from going places like the Arts and Dorchester and feel. I mean, I people laugh when I tell them I go and have a cup of tea at the Dorchester, and people say, "What do you mean?" I say, "Yeah, why not? Yeah, why not?" What they don't understand is once you walk through that door, you could be anybody. Those people don't know, and they don't care. They don't care. They don't even care. They don't care. They don't look at you the way people think they're going to look at you. And it's all part of. It's all part of us being confident of who we are, where we are, and stand up against anybody. You know, instead of looking at someone and thinking, oh, he's such and such, wow, look at him. I never look at anybody like that. The other day you said to me, you said, what is it that makes you the way you are? It's being humble. That's all it is. It's just being humble. It's knowing that I'm just a man. And so are you. And so are you. And it doesn't matter if your name is Lord, whatever it is, or you have a bank account that has, you know, £1 billion or dollars. You are still only a man. That's exactly right. That's right. You know. So preach, brother, preach, because this is what I want people to understand. We've lost, due to our background and our history, we've lost a lot of confidence. And you know, Marcus Garvey said he who is without confidence is twice defeated in the race of life. So basically, this is why we're talking today.
because I can see that light in you.
Yeah.
I see that confidence in you.
Yeah.
And you can talk to, I know you can talk to anybody on this, but you can go and speak to Prince Charles tomorrow.
Yeah.
And you'll speak how you're speaking to me.
Yeah, yeah.
Most people,
Absolutely.
most people will be, you know, not able to look him in the eye, not be able to speak their truth to him, because in reality they're already thinking of his position,
Yeah.
how much, you know, how much money he has or the access he has. They're not recognizing that is, and what you're transmitting to young people. I mean, you're a teacher doing this, not just a grandfather and a parent.
Yeah.
You're a teacher doing it. What you're transmitting to people is worth more than any money.
Yeah.
Any money you could possibly. This is what frightens me about our generation. They seem to be working themselves to death just so they can leave financial aids on houses and cars to people, and not leaving them any spirit of themselves. They're not giving them any confidence. They're not, and it's terrible. That's the worst thing you could do. Is once you rob them of self, you don't give them that confidence, like you said. Bring them to places where maybe the average person won't think to go.
Yeah.
I go to places like that all the time.
Yeah. I mean, when you think some of the places that I've travelled to, and I'm a man that I don't have any money. I don't have any money, and I've travelled to so many different places. I mean, you know, like I found myself in Texas one time, in Houston, Texas. You know,
it's amazing what you can do with confidence. Isn't it?
The top of Mount Blanc, on the border of Switzerland and France. Yeah. On my birthday, on my 40th birthday, I wanted to be on the highest point in Europe.
So you climbed the mountain. You climbed. You went. Is it a climb? No. It's not a climb, no.
No, I was in Geneva, and I took a train to a ski village. I can't remember what it's called now. Famous ski village. And I took a cable car
up
to the first stage. I took another cable car to the next stage, and then I walked up to the top. When you get to the top of Mount Blanc, there's a viewing gallery up there. So I was, I found myself up there on my 40th birthday. I was at the highest point in Europe.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and that's just how my brain started to work. You know, it's like, this is what I want to do, and I'm going to do it.
You're creating a life for yourself.
Yeah,
that's what I'm hearing. You've created a vision and an imagination for yourself, things you want to do. Yeah. And you're doing. You're not waiting for this bucket list, and you're doing them. That's cool.
And I'll tell anybody who's watching this right now, when you start thinking like that, you create situations, and you don't even realize you create situations.
Law of attraction.
And you can create an aura around you which attracts certain people.
Absolutely.
And I'll give you an example. Am I talking too much?
You're not talking too much. You're not talking enough. Keep going.
I'll give you an example. One day I was sitting over Stockington Common, and this guy approached me, a tall white guy approached me, and he said to me, he said hello and that, and he said, do you know where I can get some weed? And I looked at him, I said, do you know what you just did? He had a foreign accent. I said, do you know what you just did? You just approached a black man and asked him if he can get you some drugs. You know, don't you know that sounds racist? He says,